There it is.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. Next, I apologize about that. I'm going to introduce, I'll let Peter Bookman take over. Again, Peter was the founder of V3, and Pete, take it away.
Thanks, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay and there's not too much echo. I apologize. I'm doing this from my laptop, which is not ideal and challenging, but it's been on a road show here and really excited to be participating with our partner here. It's Bob's awesome. This team is awesome. Partnership is awesome, and I really am excited to share this time with you guys. And thanks so much, Tim, for really sharing the market opportunity and what people are looking at. And I really am excited to hear about more should the opportunity arise to hear about you guys who have done VDI or virtual desktops successfully or had challenges. Sounds like about 50-50 on this call. And I'd love to talk more about what makes V3 different from the other solutions you have heard about, a V3 product line with Sphere, is that it is workload optimized. What that means is we pay attention to what your desktops and your users are doing right now, how many of them, what kind of applications they use, and that kind of thing right from the get-go to ensure success and guarantee performance. What the entire product portfolio of Sphere 3 is focused on, what our mission is to improve your productivity. That's what we're here to do with our partner and with our product. So we're excited about that. So go ahead and let's get into the slides and talk more about that. So there's really two things we're going to talk about today. The appliances themselves, which are workload optimized, again, built for the workloads that they're designed to handle, as well as our tool we call Desktop Cloud Orchestrator, which is used to manage these, make them very, very easy to manage, and allows for some unique functionality so that you can take advantage of the resources you have available to you and offer those to your users on demand. So let's go on to the next slide and continue. So firstly, hyperconvergence is something that the V3 product line was the first to do. It's as easy as dropping in appliances. They're very fast, very simple. The expertise through our partnership allows for success through simply dropping these in. We're very proud of outperforming physical desktop workloads. We're very proud of how simple these deployments are and how quickly they happen. And so we would love to work with you to show you that. So please, next slide.
Hey, Peter, can you take a moment to, from a higher view, just explain to the audience what this consists of? Like, you partner with VMware, and you utilize your VMware licenses that you have, or we provide them with the box. Can you just go over that so everyone get an understanding of what we're talking about?
Absolutely, and great point and question, Bob. The underneath the hood of this, of these drop-in appliances, is VMware. We're very excited about our partnership with VMware. We have a lot of other strategic relationships that help to ensure a very smooth deployment with these appliances. And we can actually support a number of models for deploying these. We are a OEM partner of VMware. What that means is you can get these appliances entirely provided for by us through our partners, as well as if you already do have licenses, then we of course are happy to use that as well. In any of the above, workload optimized in the case of this also means that you get it your way. One of the consistent themes for Sphere 3D's product families is hybrid cloud, and one of the things we would like everyone to understand about that is you consume it the way you want to consume it. So if you already have licenses you paid for, they're not going to waste. If you have not, then we can make it very smooth and very easy for you to get them through us as an OEM and likely do it very, very efficiently and cost effectively. Does that make sense? And does that frame that well, Bob?
That was good.
Awesome.
Okay.
So to just talk about what's in the appliances, and you can just go ahead and get them all on the screen to make it easy. And I appreciate everybody for bearing with us on this. The V3 approach to virtual workspaces and hyperconvergence takes all the pieces that are necessary that are in a physical computer, puts them all in one appliance, and makes them available. So that involves the processor, compute, local storage, the network for each desktop and each computer, the virtualization software we just covered a little bit, and the very simplified management of using our tool allows us to drop in one or many appliances to fit your needs as close or wherever they need to go. But everything is on the box. So when we drop these in, they're literally drop in. And really that's what we talk about when you hear the term hyperconvergence, is being able to drop these in and have everything you need. Again, they can be tailored fit to your specific environment and what you have. However, being able to have compute and local storage and network and the virtualization software and our simplified management allows for, whether you're doing one or 400 appliances, it is effectively the same deployment. It works the same way. So it makes it really easy and allows us to guarantee performance and simplicity in ways that no one else can do. So let's continue to the next one, unless there's any questions there. Or something else you think I should cover, Bob. So this is really important, and this is why I'm excited about our partnership together and the time here with you guys. Because one of the reasons why VDI has been troublesome is because it was not designed for the workloads of individuals. And if we were to take that same poll Bob did and do it just slightly differently and talk about, I don't know how you would even frame the poll, but how many browser tabs we each have open right now and which applications are running behind the scenes, I suspect all of this on this call would have a very different looking environment. So let's talk through some of these workloads as we continue. Go ahead, next slide. So the easiest ones, the ones that typically have been very successful with VDI, I suspect if people on the call have been successful with VDI, it likely looks like this. But shift workers and task workers are generally shared computers, single purpose kind of computers, stuff where it's very predictable workloads because it's one type of thing. It doesn't tend to change day to day or minute to minute or week by week. And these are very easy and very effective to do, and VDI has been very good even as it was remote desktops and things like that. So this obviously works well, but this is one type of workload that whether you're using physical or virtual, it's a very simple workload to attack. Let's talk about the next one. The knowledge worker is something that we have been leading the way for a long time. That's probably most of us, I presume, on this call. Knowledge workers are the middle worker. We have a huge breadth from, still being perhaps the single application we predominantly do as contractors or what have you, as lawyers or administrators, all the way to use me. I don't want to speak for everybody else on this call. I'll laugh at myself saying, it's really funny what that 18th browser tab does to my computer because I might as well have opened my 25th application. So whether you're opening tabs or applications, my workload varies quite a bit, as does most of the people in this category. And for that reason, our appliances are uniquely sized and built to attack the knowledge worker workload and any of the others. So let's continue on to the even harder ones.
At this time, I'm going to ask one more poll question. Hopefully it's not a disaster like the last time, if you don't mind. It's basically what, if anything, has prevented you from adopting or increasing your desktop virtualization? Love to get some answers for that. We've had 29% voted. If you guys can vote a little bit more, 33, we're getting there. Right now, cost is leading the way. Okay. So we're seeing that cost is clearly the biggest factor with over 50% voted, complexity next, performance next, and lack of understanding, all in a tie, by the way, which is quite interesting. So with that, I'll give it back to Pete.
That was an absolutely spectacular question. Myself and my counterpart in the room were just kind of humming over that because, you know, a lot of those seem to be related, especially when we talk about the workload that we're talking about and the knowledge worker and such, because in the cost world, you know, there's you know, I've been doing this a long time, and I will share with everybody that the number of ROI calculators and TCOs are almost limitless, even off of VMware's website, for a reason, because this knowledge worker group all by itself is arguably the largest group of users. It's pretty much anybody who does content creation of any kind. You know, a lot of people do emails back and forth and are, you know, thought leaders and that kind of thing. So it is very diverse, and you'll see desktops, you know, the desktop cost range from inexpensive desktops to extraordinary high-end desktops to meet the needs of that. I'm talking about the physical desktop equivalents. And it's even more difficult with the cost when you talk about what does it cost you in downtime and availability. You know, I was one of the presentations we were delivering for a NASDAQ presentation the other day talked about, you know, the ability for a radiologist, as an example. I know that's healthcare, and Bob warned you guys, they apply across the board, to be able to do something that historically they had to be sitting in front of a computer to do, that now they can do on a ski slope, for example. So it's not ideal and it's not the best case. They call them wet reads as opposed to full reads, but they can now do that from anywhere, so long as they have a connection and can make that happen. And what's the value of that? You know, that's why this cost is very sensitive. And ultimately, our goal is to meet the budget of the physical desktop equivalents or virtual desktops for what you're trying to replace. That's why it's worth noting what type of workloads they are, so that we can provide an apples-to-apples comparison in both cost savings from the budget side as well as increasing your productivity and how you value that. So let's talk about the next one, which is even harder than the knowledge worker.
Pete, we had a question that's kind of appropriate right now, and that is,
okay.
What makes the Sphere 3D more cost-effective compared to setting up your own servers? And I think I know the answer, but if you could answer that, compared to doing it yourself with, like, you know, Isilon server or SAN behind it or whatever.
That is a spectacular question, and I feel like there's a lot of answers to that question. I'll do my best here. Perhaps if I love social media, if there's an opportunity another time to discuss this, you know, on Twitter or whatever, my handle is Pete Bookman, or just mention Sphere 3D, which is at Sphere 3D is our handle. However, let me take my best shot here at that. That's why hyperconvergence is hyperconvergence, because to date the highest cost has been risk, as well as the cost of full deployments that you just don't know what you're going to need until you get in there. That's why we start this presentation talking about why we're successful, because of addressing the workloads, because it's important for most VDI deployments. You don't talk about the workloads first, you talk about infrastructure, and then you tailor it to the workloads. That makes it really difficult for you to even know whether you need more Isilon or whether you need more blade servers or whether you need more software. So typically what happens is people do deployments and then they end up bloating and failing because the cost spirals out of control, because it's not all there. We have the ability to, you know, be able to cut to the chase and be able to say this is what it's going to cost you, and be able to show you not necessarily that, hey, this is entirely less expensive than your existing solution, especially VDI and what have you. except for to assure that it will be very predictable and it will be something that we can show you for your workloads. That's why we're covering this stuff. A TCO ROI calculator that we can work with you on for those workloads where we are very predictably cost effective. And that's why we cover these workloads, because workload optimized hyperconvergence allows you to not just have lower cost or better cost structure, but be able to be predictable for the workload. So it's not like, hey, this is X amount per desktop. This is X amount for this type of desktop. And that's very unique here and why we're able to do that. Does that make sense, Bob and everybody? And I don't know how to ask everybody and get results here, but I'm hoping that makes sense.
Yes, it does. At the same time, we've got one that's appropriate right now too, and I know we've got I don't know, about 10, 20 minutes left. But the other one, is there a well-documented positive ROI for VDI?
That's what my view is. There's many.
And it, as presented to a chief financial officer. We have one attendee asking that. So do we have or can we present something that shows the ROI of implementing a VDI that someone can show a chief financial officer? Which
yeah, absolutely. There's a number of them, and we can grab some. There's, like I say, many of them created, and we also have a number that one in particular that my counterpart and I were just talking about that we can custom tailor that's very recent with these appliances that we can actually turn into a version for this group through this partner, through you, Bob, and team, and be able to get that out to you guys so that you can get some insights. But always emphasizing that the reason why I kind of back off a little bit from a traditional, hey, check out this TCO ROI, is because that particular ROI and TCO came because we were able to show it up front. We were able to tell you. We were able to say this particular one was healthcare driven, and being able to say this is what it costs. This is how you're going to make, this is where the budget's coming from and how it's going to come and flow through, and this is what the return is. And being able to focus on the workloads of the users, and maybe 4 times so we can keep, because I love questions, I love interaction, so I really appreciate that. You know, let's just, instead of even continuing down the workloads much further, Bob, let's just say this. We already covered task and shift workers, knowledge workers. There's the higher end workers, which are like designers and engineers and those kind of guys that need even higher end. You know, these are the guys that are that have between $2,000 and $12,000 workstations and even more that we can also cater to and can address. So if that works for you guys, and we can work offline, and we can work with you, Bob, and for those of you on the call, work through Bob to get a TCO and ROI calculator that's kind of generalized from a recent customer, we can get that to you, and we will. But what we're most excited about is we think that we can build you a personal one as part of this process, as part of this engagement, based upon the workloads you're trying to move to the cloud, that you're trying to virtualize your desktops, and that's the secret. That's what makes it so effective, is that we eliminate the complexities and the risk, including cost, by being able to say, this is the kind of desktop you're replacing, this is your budget, and this is how we're going to replace it within that budget and provide you what you expect and what you experience. So we've been very effective at that. The V3 technology has been around since 2010. It's been in multiple verticals, including legal and finance, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But you can just go to after the types of workloads, and we'll begin from there if that makes sense and that works for everybody on the call. So to that end, though, and just to reemphasize, we sort of talked about that earlier. What good is cost structure if I can't say to you, this is what you're getting, and that whether you're doing 1 or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000, I can't tell you this is the performance you're going to get very predictably. The way we do this is because we can dedicate, as we sort of talked about earlier, inside each box, GPU, CPU, storage, RAM. Each of these gets allocated in different ratios based upon those workloads, but because all of your resources are kept local in the appliance, we have the ability to guarantee those workloads and provide a very predictable experience, and also while outperforming. So let's go to the next one. So just to briefly cover the types of appliances and workloads, and you can kind of see this at the bottom there. You know, we have workload optimized appliances for 50 knowledge workers and a lot more task and shift workers, 100 knowledge workers and a bunch of task and shift workers, a whole lot of knowledge workers, 200 and up to 200, and even more task and shift workers, and power user and designer workload appliance that's coming soon that can be shared across these or can be dedicated to those workloads. But having an appliance that says whether you are doing it for 50 users or 100 or 200, and something else to consider is these don't have to match. So you can actually say, I'm going to do a Smart Start program, as we talk about, where we'll go in and say, let's try this for some of your guys so you can see this, and we can see how it addresses the needs of this particular workload, with starting with a V50, and you can still scale into the hundreds of thousands of users if you want to, but go as low as, again, the V50 to address those workloads. So we have an appliance to meet whatever workload needs you need. Let's do the next one. Because we use the local resources in the way that we do, we are really excited about this with our partners. We actually are able to linearly scale, sort of as I just mentioned, between one appliance and as many as you want, and it never has performance degradation. It always consistently has a really great outperforming experience, because there's no caching involved, there's none of these other complex technologies. You know, you just use the local resources very much like physical desktops, so that everything continues to outperform, whether one appliance, one V50, or hundreds of V200s to do many tens of thousands of virtual desktops. So one thing that's worth noting here as well is we definitely like to take advantage of our ability to be a distributed architecture, where you can put these appliances as close to where the users are located as possible, making it so you can eliminate any network issues and these kind of things as well, and making it so you don't have to add additional infrastructure, coming back to those cost savings of networking and switching and those kind of things. To briefly talk on that, in the educational vertical, we've seen a lot of where people are going from one-to-many to one-to-one. Similarly, when you have these workloads that can be streamed in this way, when a lot of people are doing it, it's really difficult to get that from a single hosted location where they have to be centrally located. So being able to say, well, look, as part of the cost savings, I don't need to deploy any additional networking infrastructure or anything like that. I don't need to buy concentrators to compress the virtual desktop streams or anything like that, because I can distribute these appliances to wherever they're geographically best suited and manage them with a consistent management framework. Makes it so you can guarantee the performance and not need to deploy a whole lot of additional infrastructure to do that. So this is very exciting. Let's go to the next one. This is just talking about traditional vendors can't do that. The more you have, the slower it gets, and you can't get them any closer. So this is an example of physical desktops versus virtual desktops, and I've said for a very long time, speed is a funny thing. You never know you need it till you experience it, and you can't live without it. It's really funny what happens. On the left side of this graph, you see opening PowerPoint. I'm in front of a physical desktop at the moment, and I got to tell you, it's funny. It's respectable. This probably takes 2-point-something seconds for me to open PowerPoint. But when it takes less than a second to open PowerPoint, it seems almost instant. And almost instant translates into anything else seems slow. Unzipping files, opening PDFs and Words, everything is faster on the virtual desktop when you do it the right way, as we're talking about, and you can scale it appropriately. And so being faster is better. And once you experience performance, you don't want to go the other way. So optimizing these for these workloads really makes this exciting and easy. So Desktop Cloud Orchestrator is the tool I mentioned that makes things really, really easy. It makes it so these appliances can be very drop-in. You don't have to be like even though there's VMware underneath, you don't have to be like a VMware expert or even be VMware certified, really. We definitely have that available for you, of course, and with partners we have that available for you. But being able to drop these in and manage them is very easy. One of the really interesting features that we showed at VMworld this last year is a particular feature set of our desktop cloud orchestration software. We call it Autonomous Resource Scheduling and Orchestration, which today is a preview feature, but it allows resources to be deployed to desktops on an as-needed basis. So to keep going back to my story, and please continue the next slide, Bob, as I talk through this a little bit. But to use me, it's funny how that one browser tab crushes everything. You know, it's funny how I can be opening 10 browser tabs and 11 browser tabs. All of a sudden, all 10 and the other applications are just stinky. You know, so you know when we talk about cost, speaking of which, and productivity, which is what we're about increasing your productivity, building value for you that way with you and our partners. We really focus on the point that we want to avoid that and give you the resources you need so that in addition to saving you money, hopefully on your budget, if we can increase your productivity a lot by getting you the resources you need in a cost-effective way. And some of the things that virtual desktops can do that physical desktops can't is upgrade your resources in the way we're going to talk about here. So to just talk about law firms for a second, you know, there's lots of different workloads in law firms, in every organization, in finance, in you know, whether we're talking about CPA firms or anything else, there's lots of different kinds of workloads. Sorry about that, everybody. Just had a reminder. And because of that, being able to cater to each one and not necessarily have them have to stay that way is one of the benefits of virtual desktops. Upgrading physical desktops, I need to either swap out your desktop or I need to put more RAM or CPU in it, and in this case I don't. Let's go to the next slide and talk through some of these. So, you know, to just talk about one application, as it turns out, I don't know about you guys, but I mentioned the browser not accidentally. We've done a lot of these deployments. As it turns out, the #1 resource-eating application on most of our computers today happens to be the browser. You know, it's because we just open, and before you know it, all of a sudden I have to reboot or I do something funny. Nevertheless, you know, a single application such as Office or what have you might not take a lot of resources. And another application might take a whole lot of applications. You know, if I'm doing some video type stuff, creation, if I'm doing a lot of in Excel pivot tables and things like this, I might need more resources. I might need more RAM, more CPU, more GPU. Different types of workloads require different things. And this is normal. It's not just, it's in every industry, it's in every workload. So let's go to the next one, Bob. So just to talk through a couple of these and the types of workloads we addressed, you know, Balch and Bingham was a really exciting one for me and us. They had 3 offices. They had a little over 1,100 actual attorneys. They went with a distributed approach, as we would recommend, where they had appliances deployed at each location to address their needs. But before we started interacting with them, I don't know how many people on this call have seen this, or I certainly have in the past. I'm excited to say I don't have to anymore, and it's really great in a BYOD world because it's shifted. But I saw many attorneys at Balch and Bingham who walked around with multiple laptops because they had files and specific file formats that they wanted to keep while using the new one. And in a virtual desktop world, they just maintain multiple virtual desktops if they want to, or multiple application versions, and there's lots of ways to handle that. But ranging from the accounting department to the IT guys to the administrators to the assistants, everybody had their own workloads. But being able to take advantage of this and be able to shift them around is one of the things that's a major differentiator and provides huge cost savings over physical desktops as well as over other virtual desktop approaches. Miles and Stockbridge was one of our early customers. They were wonderful. They're exciting. They had 2 offices all, and when I say is all, I mean they were not very big offices, but they enjoyed the same mobility that came out. Mentioned on this call was cost, and that was their primary concern as well. And you know, for me, what it boiled down to and what it boiled down to for them as a use case really came down to how many more billable hours they were able to do because of simply going with a virtual desktop approach where they had thin clients on their desks and then they could walk around with whatever devices they needed to and be having multiple customers going at once and things that virtual desktops enable you to do. So Miles and Stockbridge is a particularly exciting one because although smaller, they did a lot of innovative things with it that allowed them to cater to more customers' needs faster and better than they were able to before. So let's go to the next one. So this is what is meant, you know, when we build generalized workloads or when we try to put people's workloads, even as we talked about my desktop, well, on one day I might be doing a traveling, I'm just giving a presentation. On another day, I'm creating a presentation. And when I'm giving a presentation, I don't need as much as when I'm creating one. So being able to ask for an upgraded desktop experience for a prescribed amount of time is something our orchestration tool allows you to do. In addition to managing all of the virtual desktop environment much simpler, so you don't need to know all the VMware things and such, but being able to say, I'm now needing to create a graphic for my PowerPoint, which means I need to load some Adobe products or something, allows me to say, I just need an upgraded desktop that's 4 times faster than the one I'm on right now for 2 hours, and then you can have it back. Allows for cost savings. It allows for an improved user experience because I no longer have that. Even if it is, I'm going to do some research. I need to open up 18 browser windows. It might be that easy. Let me use a desktop that lets me do this research and then give it back to the pool when we're done. So very exciting, very cool opportunity for IT and those using it and our partners, again, to deliver a hybrid cloud where I get to take advantage of the resources that are available to me. Let's move on to the next one. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to move a little faster just to make sure we get through this and get to anybody's questions. So this on the right side, you can kind of see there is kind of a snapshot of our desktop cloud orchestrator, but it does allow you to take these appliances and have one for failover no matter how many you have, and we'll leave that to you what level of failover you need, but be able to deploy your workload optimized desktop experience to the appliances that are most appropriate. We simplify all the key features in VMware, View, vCenter, vSphere, all these other tools that we can use and plug in with our portfolio of other products, whether that be storage. I appreciated Tim again mentioning, you know, the storage. We have the most scalable storage, network attached storage solution on the planet. That if you have large data sets, we can do that, and we can also optimize for performance as well. We also have another technology for applications, but all in all, being able to use our desktop cloud orchestrator tool quickly and efficiently manages virtual desktops, and you don't have to worry about managing storage and network and all these other things because you don't need to worry about that in this ecosystem. So it's very simple, very fast, very great experience. Let's continue. And I guess that'll do it. This is what I was talking about earlier. Thanks for continuing on there, Bob. And I wasn't sure if, given the questions, we wanted to cover this. But, you know, Sphere 3D does have a large portfolio that we offer through our partners. So, you know, we have huge scaling across the board. We have unified storage, purpose-built backup, long-term retention, the whole works, everything you need end-to-end. You know, whether we're talking about cold storage that, you know, you're to a point where the highest cost, beginning of cost, happens to be power, generally when it comes down to it, and being able to offer cold storage all the way to cloud-ready appliances and solutions is something that whether you're talking about desktops, applications, or storage, with our partners we can offer all of the above, and that's one of the reasons why we can make this very simple, very cost-effective, and most importantly, as our mission is to do, we're going to improve your productivity. we are very, very consistent about that.
Okay. We have a couple of questions here. I'm going to try something because I'm not sure if this question's coming from one person or another. Heath Hess has a question. I'm going to unmute him and see if we can hear him. Heath?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
My question is, unfortunately, about 2 years ago, I bought Dell's VDI in a box solution, and that involved a Citrix VDI in a box and 3 servers. And this year, I was notified that they are end-of-lifing Dell's VDI in a box. Can your solution be ran on my current hardware, the Dell servers that I had just purchased, or do I have to buy your boxes to drop them in?
That is a spectacular question, and yeah, we're all watching as this is a very dynamic marketplace, and the VDI in a box movement was a spectacular offering, I think. I think to a large degree, I consider them partners in arms at bringing about this, what we call hyperconvergence world. So it really is kind of unfortunate to see them shift gears, not offer that anymore, and move in a different direction for hyperconvergence. Either way, today, this is designed for our drop-in workload optimized appliances because of what we talked about. We want to be able to deliver you a prescribed working experience. You know, it might be worth discussing, let's put it that way. I mean, I really don't know. I'm the wrong guy. There are some people on this call listening in who are going to hear that, so I appreciate the question because we're definitely capable, but I'll repeat, our mission is to increase productivity. So the reason why we do workload optimized appliances is so that we know where your workload is. But if you know that your workload with the VDI in a box, the solution you have, has worked, then it might be worth a discussion because we might be able to bolt this on to what you have and be able to deliver an experience that remains consistent with what you have and be able to deliver that. But today we don't. Today we are addressing this with the appliances that we know can deliver the experience you need. So I know the right people heard it, so I appreciate the question, and it might be worth considering, and if that is interesting to you, please go through Bob, of course, who knows all the right people on the call who can entertain such an idea, because I can't speak to saying whether we can or cannot or will not. I will simply say that we don't right now. Does that make sense and work?
Yeah, that's fine. I just need a solution, and I don't. And at this point, I'm not buying Citrix anymore. Period.
you know, you're not alone in that at all. And you know, we're excited, and we are leading the way with hyperconvergence and hybrid cloud. I loved how Tim framed up the 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we're going to get you all the way there. We have a long-term commitment with our partners to provide a consistent user experience for you. That's what this is all about, and that's why today we do it. We want to be definitely the solution you choose through our partners, and this much I can assure you, we will give you a consistent, great experience that you won't be left holding the bag. This is something, that's why we do it the way we do it today, and that's why we're always open to learning a better way to do it to meet your needs. We want to meet your needs, we want to do that, and today we know how to do it the way we're talking about. To be frank with you, I hadn't heard that, but I'm definitely aware of Citrix leaving a lot of people holding the bag with that VDI in a box, and obviously you sound like you, like me, are ahead of the curve for a lot of people on this call and understanding just how simple drop-in appliances make this to do. It's, you eliminate so many of the complexities. But
I got to tell you that those 3 boxes came here, and within 4 hours, I had 100 workstations pumped out and rolling with an image. I mean, it was so simple, and it's just disgusted me to no end that this great solution that they had is gone, and it's bad. I was all set to buy another 200 thin clients and roll out the rest of my building, but I'm pretty much done at this point. I can't push something forward with no support after 2016. I have to move on.
Yeah, and we'll pick up that slack for sure. I mean, we're passionate. That's why our mission statement is not, hey guys, you know what, we want to virtualize your stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's why, you know, we believe, I would like to speak for Sphere 3D. It's not really my role in doing so, but I'll simply say that's why our mission statement is what it is. It's not like, hey guys, let's virtualize your world, let's do these things. It's for the reason you just said, it's to increase your productivity. It's to say, look, you need to make some strategic bets for the next century, you know, for the next 10 years, you know, and we want to be a part of that and help you deliver hybrid cloud, which in my view is an improvement on what you've already seen from Citrix VDI in a box, but you're not going to be left holding the bag, because this is an extension of that, an improvement on that, and we are continuing to innovate, continuing to grow, continue to focus on this. And we really appreciate this opportunity to speak with you, with Unison, and build a relationship and rapport where you can make a bet that this will be with you not just through 2016, but way beyond that.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions if they want to raise their hands or whatnot? We could take, I guess, one or two more. I don't see any, I don't think. Well, with that, I appreciate everyone for coming. We'll send out an email with some literature, and if you want to review individually, we can set up a individual webinar or come meet you in person and talk about your needs. So. Again, it's Bob Brady with Unison and Peter Bookman. Thank you, and Tim Horgan. Appreciate it. And again, thanks for attending. Have a nice day.
No, I get, yeah, no, I mean,